1976, and I'm in my classroom where I teach 7th and 8th graders, and this kid Butch yells out, "Zang, your desk, it's smoking." And in fact, my desk was almost on fire. During lunch, I had stayed in the classroom, smoked a cigarette, lost track of time, realized that the kids were coming in, quickly snuffed out the cigarette and shoved the ashtray into the desk drawer. And 10 minutes later, my desk was smoking. It was my 3rd year teaching. I had been hired to work with 7th and 8th graders who were non-readers, and after a disastrous first year, I proposed to the administration that we create an alternative classroom for some of these kids. So I ended up with 12 7th graders in the morning and 12 8th graders in the afternoon. And as you might expect, some of these kids, it's tough to be 12 or 13 and not be able to read or perform in school the way your peers do. And so you have some strong feelings about that. My principal lovingly referred to my students as Anna's Bananas. And he, as long as they weren't swinging from the light fixtures or killing each other or killing me, he thought I was doing a good job. And I also heard that the school committee were taking bets to see how long I'd last in the position. On the first day, we played a game. It was a role play. And I invited the angriest, most uncooperative kid to be the teacher, and I was one of the students. And I proceeded to invoke chaos. I was rude, I was disrespectful, I was disruptive, and I encouraged everybody else in the class to be the same. And when he couldn't handle it, when his threats weren't working and he was running out of patience, I called a halt to the role play, and I said, "You guys, this is what we've just experienced is called a power struggle." And of course, the lesson was that nobody can control anybody else, that I as the teacher would be powerless to control them, and that if we didn't decide to all be in this thing together, to work together, to be cooperative and respectful, then it would be a mess. And you know that we had our messes, but invariably someone would call out, "Uh-oh, it looks like we're having a power struggle." And we could regroup. These kids were amazing. I learned so much from them. It's hard to believe that it's almost 50 years later, and I'm still thinking about them fondly. There was April. April was my cactus girl. She was tough and prickly on the outside, and she was soft and super sweet on the inside. And when she graduated, she bought me a cactus plant. There was Chester. Chester was 15 in the 7th grade. He was 6'2", 250 pounds. This kid would lean back in his chair at his table because the desk was too small, and he would bellow, "Zanfagna, you aggravate me." To which I would reply, "Well then, Chester, I must be doing a good job." By the end of 8th grade, he was reading, and he was writing book reports, and he was proud. There was Will. Every week we would go to the bowling alley for a math class, and Will would steal a bowling ball, just so we could insist that he have to return it. There was Skip. Skip peed on the floor in the gymnasium when the teacher wouldn't allow him to go to the bathroom during detention. There was Rosa, who didn't speak a word practically out loud. And there was Butch, who every holiday he would give us cookies. Every holiday he would bake for us. Butch also, after the smoking desk incident, he came up with a plan to help me stop smoking. So he created a phone tree, and every night one of my kids would call me at home, and they would say, "Zang, did you have a cigarette today?" And after a while, it worked. and they were proud of me, and I was super proud of them. These kids came up in difficult family situations. I always hoped that they had good lives. They grew up to have good lives. I know 2 of my boys ended up in prison because they committed violent crimes. Chester actually became the head custodian at that school, and he just recently retired. About 4 years ago during the pandemic, April, my cactus girl called me, and she let me know that her young adult son had recently died of an opioid overdose. And in the course of our conversation, she shared that in junior high school, in my class, she felt that she had gained some confidence and some courage to face difficult times in her life. And I shared with her that the experience was mutual. As a young teacher with her and her classmates, that whole experience had really shaped my entire career in public education. Thanks for being here.